Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome back to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I play the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm your host, Tom Rayleigh. Our campaign is Beyond the Mountains of Madness, and we are about to begin episode 8. It was written mainly by Janice Hill and Charles Engen, along with others who are listed in the credits. Simon Ward will be giving the recap, and our GM for this campaign is Sean Little. The ship is rocking, the players are ready. Let's begin our journey into the darkness. Simon?
We set sail on the 11th of September out of New York, and we spend the next few days either giving classes or being a student in one. Various polar survival, climbing, aircraft maintenance, dog sledge handling, plenty to do. Everything seems smooth sailing, and we expect to hit Panama in about 7 days. On the 14th, just after lunch, 2 of the radios were sabotaged with acid. I missed whoever did it by seconds. Robert and myself set about repairing the damage, but our spares and field radios in the storeroom were also damaged in the same way. Whoever did it hid their tracks very well, so security and paranoia have been stepped up. The ship is a very uncomfortable place to be on at the moment. I'm keeping myself in the radio room doing repairs.
All right, thank you. Okay, so it is the 15th. I believe we left off early afternoon, did we?
Mid-morning, technically, but yes.
Mid-morning? Yeah, okay.
Yes.
So just so you know, as lunch is being served, the sandwiches, the usual, not overly exciting lunch in the mid with everyone working and such. And you hear someone yelling up on the deck. Nothing frightening, no screams or anything like that. And as you look, you can see land. And as you're munching sandwiches, you're coasting around a tropical island. And it's slowly as lunch progresses, you approach the edge of Cuba. You're told it's Cuba, and you see palm trees leaning out over the water. You're close enough. You feel like you could probably jump off the ship and swim to it, but of course, you can't. Sure. And you see an American battleship off, and they give a salute, and the captain of the ship blasts the Gabriel's horn 3 times and a salute back to them, and you continue on your way.
Well, Doc, you've been there recently, haven't you?
I heard the cigars are pretty good there.
Okay, so we're rounding the corner to Cuba.
Yeah, heading off to Panama.
Yeah,
that's the path you're following is to Panama, of course. So you are the day's progressing, and people are going through your classes like normal. The air is, as noon comes along, it's becoming not oppressively hot, but quite warm. People are enjoying it. You do notice that you're hearing a lot of barking from the dogs in the hold down below. And one of the dog handlers is up during lunch and says, well, they probably just want to be out on deck, but we can't let that happen quite yet. We'll have to bring them out when we get to land.
Oh, so they get to come out when they get to land. That's good.
Yeah, he takes them one by one for a walk around the deck each day, twice a day. But they don't like to be cooped up in the hold of the ship. It's not natural for them, he says. But they certainly don't seem to be enjoying it. And day progresses, classes progress, and the 15th, unless you're going to be doing anything in particular,
how's radio repairs going? Am I able to do the radio repairs, or am I missing parts because of the sabotage?
Well, you did check, and you were able to find some parts in the hold. So if you want to make a successful radio repair, we can see how it goes.
Electricity.
Then you'll roll rather.
I foul by 1, so I spend a luck point.
Easy enough. The main radios in the radio room are repaired. You get some assistance from the other person with you. Let's just say you don't have to use that luck roll because there's another trained radioman with you who's working on it as well.
That's only 1 point. So.
You might need it.
Well,
Sean,
I'd like to get it back soon.
Can I clarify something real quick?
Absolutely.
The radios, was that specifically like the handheld radios that the expedition would use, or was that the radios for like the main ship to contact other ships and such?
The first situation was the radios in the radio room. They were just the ship-to-ship radio, ship-to-shore radio.
Okay.
And then there was an incident where it was discovered that in the hold, when Sparky went to find parts for those radios, that some of the field radios were also damaged. They need to be repaired as well.
Okay, so it was both.
And he's brought them to the radio room. Not very much room in the radio room right now, but there's some room to work, so you can start working on those as well, Sparky.
Will do.
All right. So, is anyone have any things or specific duties they wish to accomplish today on the 15th?
Okay, Sean, just a question. Sorry, I was muted there.
Oh, sure. You bet. Sorry.
Actually, can we kind of pick where we're kind of taking a class or watching over? Because if I can, maybe I wouldn't mind watching the guys do some of the aircraft, actually some of the mechanical stuff on the aircraft, just out of it for something sort of out of my field.
Oh, absolutely. I'll tell you what. I'll just run down. Everyone's already heard them, but due to your food poisoning last week, you were stuck in your room for a few days. But there are classes going on, as you've been told, throughout the travels, like until you reach Antarctica. They're going to run classes. There's now some of them are half over right now. Polar survival, 3 classes, and that's related to cold weather gear, oxygen masks, extreme temperatures, high altitudes, individual movement. There's climbing classes, and your own Captain Sugden's helping out with those. There's some aircraft maintenance that Nigel's helping out as well. There's dog sled classes, navigation, meteorology, radio operator, which Sparky's helping with, and operation of heavy drills, which the drill crews are assisting with. Geology, the history of Antarctica, and when it gets farther on in the trip, there's going to be some explosives and some other miscellaneous classes happening as well.
Okay, for sure. What I'll do is kind of shadow run Nigel, and just kind of watch him do some of the work that he's done before.
I think that Sean told us that we could take like 3 classes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 3.
Oh, okay.
And then explain the mechanic to him, because he didn't get to hear that either.
Yeah, if you take 3 classes for the space of a week, a little bit of leeway for you is fine because you were sick for a couple of days. After 7 days, you can perform a roll, like you actually roll against your intelligence. I think it was not your intelligence. Now I'm going to have to find that. But after the period of a week, everyone can take an attempt to roll, then you can increase that ability on your stats.
Okay, perfect.
All right, so I'll actually send you a copy of the list of classes, and if you could just tell me what 3 you wish to take for the first week, I'll make sure that you can still take those.
And
Okay.
I, for the record, I believe that the roll is over the skill. So if you have, say, 20 in the skill, you have to roll higher than 20 in the skill.
Okay.
That's correct.
That's right. Okay. Greg, I'm sending it to you now.
Thank you.
Are we, or is it the crew in general still on high alert with regards to looking for suspicious activity?
I'd say the crew they were suspicious of things to begin with because of all the things that happened on the docks and in the city before the travels and the murder, of course. Now they are, because of the rumors flying around about some potential sabotage happening, they're starting to watch everybody they don't personally know or haven't traveled with a little more scrupulously.
That's good. I mean, the last thing we want is something like that happening when we're out on the high ocean. That could be catastrophic.
Well, and it's just the next day, so I imagine everybody's kind of got their eye out for anybody being in a place they shouldn't be.
Mm-hmm. People are watching.
Especially the acid room.
Me personally, I'm fine with them keeping an extra close eye on me because they don't know me, because that keeps people from sneaking up behind me.
Might not be a bad idea to take to one or two of us making the occasional patrol. Just check any, if we can think of any potential sites for sabotage. But yes,
That's the thing, though. Really, all of our gear and stuff is so important. It's like they really could sabotage just about anything to put a real hurt.
Well, and there's the backlash of that too, and that's that you can't hang around in the areas that have been sabotaged because that'll just make us look like we're the saboteur. Best thing we can do is stay out of the people's way who are doing their job.
well, if we do go to inspect anything, then we should do it in pairs at the very least, because you don't want to be somewhere on your own. That makes you very suspicious.
But there's people moving around the ship at all times because of classes going from one place to another. So it's difficult to pin people down to a single area, isn't it?
Well, they're not walking through the radio room.
Well, they're not going through the radio room, but yeah, walking around the ship and stuff like that. They're going from one place to another, aren't they?
I think that the hold as well.
We just got to make sure the people are where they're supposed to be and not where they're not supposed to be.
But it also means we got to stop wandering about ourselves, doesn't it?
Yes. If you need to have a smoke, you go up on the deck and you smoke, and you want to get something to eat, you go to the galley. You don't walk down to the battery room. That'll get you in trouble. And hopefully whoever our saboteur is will make the mistake and get caught.
Sure. So how many people know about the damage done to the radios?
Everybody.
Okay, so it's widely known.
Is our ship specifically taking us to this spot, right? I mean, it's our ship for the expedition, right? We're not sharing with anybody else.
That's right. It's going on park off Ross Island. You guys will disembark, and it will maintain its portage until you're complete. You're finished your work.
It's like the radio room's really Robert's radio room, because he's the ship's radio operator. I'm just using it until we get off and start going off, and he's the guy I'm going to be talking to.
Yeah, gotcha.
So technically it's his radio room, not mine.
All right.
When we're off duty, I kind of sort of an aside to I can't see to Sparky. I got to think, I wonder if you could set some sort of a trap. I mean, something that would.
If somebody tried, repairs, to be honest.
Well, yeah, I know, but like if somebody tried anything to go in there when nobody was around, like, I don't know, spray them with paint or something so that we could know immediately who it was, or I don't know, maybe I'm being silly, but the best idea is maybe just to, like you're sleeping there, right?
Yeah, if I'm not here, Robert's here. I don't think Robert sabotaged the radios because he would just make work for himself.
Yeah, no.
And I check everything he does, and he checks everything I do. So I don't think he's one of the ones we need to worry about.
I think that we can rule out the loyal crew, most of the crew that's part of this ship.
We can't rule anybody out until he makes a mistake and reveals who it is. He's too good. He hasn't left any trace at all. So we have got nothing to go on with anybody.
Well, anyways, hopefully nothing will happen.
Actually, I would be.
Hopefully, that's all we can do. Because, like I say, we can't be prepared because we don't know who it is. We don't know what they're going to do next. Like I say, they haven't left us any clues.
I'm not saying that we know who it is, but we know who it's likely not.
I would actually
I don't.
disagree with that. I would believe that it would be one of the standard crew that's served for a while, because they're going to know the whereabouts of things on the ship.
They're
And
going to
if
be
they-
sabotaging their own ship. They're going to be
It could be
endangering
anyway.
their own
It could be the
lives.
woman.
no,
It could have been the woman we brought on at the last moment, couldn't it?
No,
We
they're
couldn't do background checks and
they're
stuff like
not-
that. It could be anybody. We
First
have
of
no
all-
evidence.
they're not sabotaging anything that's going to kill somebody in a direct fashion. And so what if they sabotage the radios for the field? They're not going out in the field. They're staying on the boat.
I still don't think that it's likely one of the members of the crew, the regular members. It could be a new member of the crew. Somebody who signed on specifically for this ship.
Really could
That would be suspicious. But in any case, it doesn't matter. We don't know, and we're not going to know what's going to happen until it happens. So,
Well, if it was me and I was the saboteur, I would try and make sure that everybody didn't suspect me and suspected everybody else.
well, I understand that, but if it was you, what could possibly be your motivation for doing it? You wanted to.
We're
go
talking
on.
about a madman here. You're asking me to predict
You don't act
what
like
a
a madman.
madman's going to do. Only a madman would do the things that's happening at the moment. So therefore, I can't predict it. It's like predicting
All
a
right,
dice
all right.
roll.
You know what? We can argue about this forever, and it's boring. Let's just go
Well, you're
on.
not. I mean, I don't know what your field of speciality is, but I'm sure you're not a policeman.
I've got a brain. I don't need anything
And-
more than a brain.
And acute paranoia.
I don't have.
Like I say,
paranoia.
once we got something to go on, I'm all for action, but we haven't got any clues.
All right, it's boring. Let's stop talking about it and go on. So I just turn
Please.
around and walk away.
Yeah, that cut me deep, that did.
Good, because I just started to suspect you.
Oh, good.
Very,
It's
very
called the
adamant
Start
on
Weather War expedition, not the
suspecting.
Lindenbrook expedition. You're no more above anybody else. You haven't been
It
elected
is
leader.
the Lindenbrook expedition, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, you're alone in that world, mate. Everyone else in this the expedition is just as important as you.
All right, I walked away from you. We can't be talking anymore. But I suspect you now.
You get a little checkbook, your little book out. You go.
Keep you busy for a couple of days, won't it? You prove it's me.
Mhm. No, I don't really think it's him, but I like irritating him.
Well, this sure beats listening to harmonica to pass the time.
Yeah,
I
think at least we've got something to
I have
do.
been going out of my way to avoid you.
Well, I don't have anything else to do but solve this crime. So
Like I say, I'm not getting in your way.
I realize you
But
do
like I
have
say,
something to do, and you're doing a very good job of it. But
No, since you talked down to me in front of everybody and told me to go back to the radio room, that's exactly what I did.
everybody wasn't there. I was in the radio room with you. It was you and me.
No, just now I'm talking about when we were originally talking about this when we were in dock. You said go back to the radio room, like my opinion didn't count.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I
That was days and days and days.
selective
ago.
memory.
All right, we're still having a conversation that
Yes. People on the ship are watching. Heads are poking out of doorways.
Bowls of popcorn are being passed around.
Yeah, well, I've got mine. Well, the 15th is an interesting afternoon then. It's arguing has started amongst the expedition members. So the 15th just rolls on by. It's a nice, beautiful Caribbean day. Cuba is in the back behind you now. And you're moving through the Caribbean Sea.
About how long is the estimated trip going to take?
Estimation is you will arrive in Panama on the 18th, I believe it is.
No, I mean all the way to Ross Island.
Oh, October.
Okay, so
Mid-October.
So it's the 16th today, isn't it?
Today's 15th, afternoon of the 15th.
No, it's afternoon of 15th. Good.
the
Don't-
18th is
don't
when
worry.
we've reached. 18th is also when we've reached 1 week and we can roll for our classes.
The day ends, the dinner is had, Nothing out of the ordinary has happened that you know of. Like nothing seems to be going on. People are starting to calm down again. There's talk among the crew that maybe it was just an accident. Maybe something accidental happened. It's just people are calming down. So it's not like it's a ever increasing number of bad things happening. So people are starting to accept it. Sparky, do you want to do another roll to see if you can repair the field radios?
Okay. So let's see. I won't be doing a dice roll for skills because I should imagine most of this is going to be taking my time up all this repair. So I shouldn't imagine I'll be able to do classes as well. I'll succeed.
Yeah. Well, then just say the field radios between you and the other radio men.
We've got to find somewhere to keep these locked up in the radio room, I guess, rather than in the supplies. There's no point putting them back to get damaged again. We might as well keep them in there.
There's room if you shuffle some things around and put some.
Yeah, we can make room. Isn't only radios and batteries. Batteries don't need to worry about. Unless they fuck around with them, of course.
Yeah, you're fine. You've got room to store things. So the evening, everyone eats. Nice, beautiful starlit night. Nice, cool breeze. Though it is getting a little more difficult to sleep because of the hot air, hot weather. Morning rolls around the 16th. It's another day at sea, another beautiful day. A little more wind than before.
Oh, I thought that was the 16th.
15th. That was the afternoon of the 15th.
Yeah, but you said that it was nighttime on the 15th, and then you started to talk. We talked about classes, and now I assume was the 16th.
Oh,
yeah, it's the 16th now. I think.
Oh, I thought he was just ending the 16th. Okay, sorry.
Oh, it's ending the 15th. Well, the 16th again progresses the same unless there's something anybody wishes to do in particular. We can cut right through the 16th.
Okay.
All right. Same as before. Days are passing quite. You're starting to get a little bit. Classes are a little bit monotonous, but you know they're ending soon. 16th
on
passes.
the 17th. Okay. Go ahead.
Oh, I was saying 16th passes into the 17th.
Okay. So on the 17th, I get a bottle of the good rum, and I go up to see Sparky and tell him I really want to bury the hatchet. I want us to stop arguing because we're going to have to be together for a long time. I also tell him that I'd really like to take class with him next week on radios because I don't know anything about them.
I can do what I can, but we haven't got much time. Because you can't do anything until you learn the Morse code.
What's that?
You won't be able to do anything until you learn the Morse code because all long-range radio communications at this time is Morse code.
Oh, crap. That's true.
It's only in a few years' time it will get through to normal radios, but I think it's only walkie-talkie, short-range devices, I think, at the moment.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's just Morse code.
Well, from that, you have to learn
so
Morse.
Do you have a little cheat sheet that I can... I suppose really all I need to know is did it.
I mean, like say Morse code, the better, because if I snuff it, no one else is going to be able to use a radio to communicate.
Well, that's just it. I want to know how to turn it on and how to tune it in.
Yeah, I can do. That's basic stuff. I shouldn't even think you need a class for the basic stuff. Like I said, the important stuff is Morse because once signals come in, they come in very quickly. And
well,
it's difficult to keep up.
I assume that our classes are just basic because really, I wouldn't know anything about. I wouldn't even know where the on switch is at this point.
Yeah.
Most of these are.
But I should imagine most of it's Morse. We've got walkie-talkies there, haven't we? So I should imagine we should be able to communicate with them, but I don't think they've got very much range. But there was radio broadcasts, aren't there? So if we've got the antenna and the power, I think you can do it. But I think they're still using the majority of the time Morse code.
Maybe there's a little cheat sheet that you could give me with the Morse code on it. I can practice.
Oh yeah, I'll do what I can.
Do we know? So there's the radio, the main radio on board. When we get on the island and so forth, Is that all we're going to have? Is just walkie-talkies? Like, I'm trying to figure out the radios that we have on the expedition. Is that just so that we can talk amongst ourselves, or is there
amongst ourselves? I should imagine amongst ourselves.
It's also so that we can probably there'll be some larger field radios in case we split. Somebody goes there and somebody goes there, and you need to communicate over a couple of miles. But also, we need to keep contact with the ship.
Yeah, it's the mountains that get to be problems. Well, we're not vast and open splits of flat ground. You have to worry about atmospherics bouncing off the radio signals and stuff like that. But we shouldn't really get much in the way of problems until we get into the mountains. But I'm working on an amplifier, hopefully to boost the signal. What I'm hoping for, we can get it pulled out in time. But I'm still developing it.
If it happens like the previous one, then we'll be in the field. We'll communicate with the ship, and then the ship will relay our information back to civilization if we need to.
That's how it theoretically should have to work.
So let's say we're out in the middle of the expedition, out in the middle of the Antarctic. On my little handheld walkie-talkie, am I going to be able to speak directly to the ship?
No.
You'll
be able to speak to base camp.
I think with the winds and stuff, I should imagine we'll be using it to talk to each other because we're going to be roped together in the middle of an Arctic storm. It's the only way we're going to be able to talk to each other, I should imagine.
Yeah.
So basically, so when we're out in the expedition, we're cut off from the ship. This is basically what it's coming down to.
And put a woolly hat on before you put your headphones on, otherwise your headphones will stick to your head.
We should be able to talk to base camp. And base camp should be able to communicate.
Okay, that's what I'm asking. So there's going to be another high-powered radio at base camp.
We have a couple. Don't we? We have two.
There's three field.
I think so. Yeah,
three. Okay.
3 field radios. Okay. Yeah. And we leave one. Yeah. To start with, it's all going to be heavy, but if we leave one at each camp, and it'll be like a chain.
Okay, gotcha.
I hope.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of sabotage ahead.
Yeah, that's assuming everything is working.
I think I'm just going to be repairing stuff for the whole fucking journey, which isn't really a problem for me because I enjoy doing it. But it's where I ain't going to let anyone know that.
I think you're just going to get frustrated and just go sabotage something else so that somebody else has to start repairing things.
Fuck it, I'll build a radio, get there, I'll build a fucking radio. Until then, I'm not.
If it were me, I would set the radio out in the middle where everyone can get to it, but have bear traps hidden in the snow.
Well, like I say, it's frustrating. It's just so frustrating because we don't. We've been sucker punched and we don't know who bloody hit us. Yeah. And all it is frustrating, and it just breeds paranoia.
We also know that it's one of 150 or so people.
Well, the crew don't like us at all, man. Honestly, we can end up on the lifeboat if things go too bad. The crew, I don't fancy taking on the whole crew. I mean, they could put us on the line. I'm worried about us getting to Panama and having half the crew disappear.
Is that true? Do we know the crew is against us?
Well, they didn't like us, did they, at first? Because of all the things that were going the wrong way, looking upon us like we were looking upon them. Do you reckon it's them? There hasn't been any trouble until they come along and stuff like that. You know how superstitious some people would get. Okay. What we've been feeling towards them. They have been quite separate from us.
I don't
think there hasn't been open hostility, but they had their eyes on us.
I'm not sure, but I don't think that they get paid until the mission's over.
Well, it depends how spooked they are by the next sabotage thing. If it's a bad one, they might get spooked and run, mightn't they? I would. It's getting to the point of this expedition. It's one thing after another.
Well, their motivation is that they don't get paid until the end of the mission. So
they just get another ship and go to another port and make it up that way, won't they?
Well, they can save their lives, but they'll be poor.
Well, yeah, but alive. But I don't think that would happen unless they get really scared.
Actually, there's probably a punishment for that, isn't there? If you abandon your ship.
Merchant Marine. It probably can't sail that ship again, but there's always ships for crew.
It's endangering everybody else on the ship by abandoning your post.
Desertion.
Well, in the military, yeah, but merchant Marine.
In the army, we'd shoot them for it.
Well, even in the Merchant Marines, it's still you're endangering everybody's life by running away.
Yeah, they got to catch you up. I mean, from Panama, you can get on a ship bound for anywhere, can't you? And they always look for crew.
So we're still on the 17th?
You're on the 17th. The day progresses again, much the same. 17th, the evening of. Captain has an announcement to everyone over dinner. Just be aware, people, that we will be approaching the port of Panama, approaching Panama Canal tomorrow morning. Breakfast will be moved back an hour to allow for people to be on at their stations at the time.
Is there a major city on the Panama Canal?
What's that?
Is there a major city on the Panama Canal?
There's Colón, which is not a major city. It's at the Gatun Locks.
Well, I was thinking about replacing the radio parts that got badly damaged in the sabotage. We need to get to a city and replace. Yeah, basically.
Well, once you pass through,
it's a major dock, isn't it? The major port, rather. So.
Yeah, I should imagine it. Yeah, have
spares for nautical equipment would be quite easy.
Yeah.
Will we be staying there for any length of time before we go through the locks?
You have heard that Mr. Starkweather absolutely does not wish to stop. You will be docking once you pass through the canal on the far side at Panama City, but his assumption is only specific individuals who have purpose will be leaving the ship, and there'll be no shore leave granted.
They'll be the ones that get kidnapped.
Morning, this evening, the 17th, there's some people are staying up and having a couple drinks here and there on the deck secretly, hidden flasks and such. Sharing is needed because a little bit of ceremony, but unofficial as they approach the canal. And
we'll go do that ceremony.
Everyone assumes everyone's going to be up early for breakfast, and you'll see about the northern top part. You're entering where the little dotted line is. And so if everyone wants to take a look at that.
Massive, isn't it?
I honestly didn't know there was that big gigantic lake there in the middle.
Yeah. I never knew it was a big lake here. You've been through it there, Mike?
So,
does anyone know if is it like straight sailing, or is it one of those ones where the locks raise up and down?
Yes, that's what it does.
Yes, it is. Once you get to Gatun Locks, it's a raising up of the ship.
Yeah.
Pedro Miguel locks. And Miraflores locks.
And how many miles through is it? 26, isn't it?
There's a little legend at the bottom, 30. It's like 30, 35.
Okay, yeah.
That's Portobello. Portobello.
Bello.
The Madden Dam.
So we're gonna go all the way through and then do a little background around that little thing up there, and then go to Panama City.
Likely you'll dock at
through?
Balboa.
Oh,
Just
okay.
Balboa there. That's generally where you'd stop to get supplies. It's a port as well.
Yeah.
All right. Has everybody had a chance to look at it now?
Colin?
Yep.
The Gaten locks. That was the first one.
All right. If you could unpresent me.
Oh, sorry.
I can't do it myself, which is odd. There we go. So I will send that to everyone separately so you have it for just archival purposes.
Bargain.
In case you're ever kayaking down, if you want to go through the canal. So the morning arrives. Breakfast is early. You can see you are offshore, and you approach. And Captain Vredenburg holds the vessel offshore for about an hour inside the breakwater in Colón Bay. And a canal pilot is brought out to the ship, and standard procedure. He boards the ship and stays on, and he will stay through the whole process of going through the locks. His name's Quentin. Just offhand, you hear this. He inspects documents. Gives you a wave. He's very busy. Inspects the ship's documents, proceeds the bridge. He's going to stay there. He doesn't generally leave. He watches everybody working. You pass through the locks. Takes about an hour. Your ship's engines are idle, and off-duty crewmen lounge on the rail, watching the big gates approach. 2 sets of these, 150 feet wide.
It's relatively new, isn't it?
70 feet high.
Yeah. It's only been done in the last few years, isn't it? The Panama Canal, last few decades.
Reminds you of that King Kong movie you saw, it, the giant gate.
Yeah, the big.
Well, we're probably looking at it like what a modern marvel.
A big wharf.
So,
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
so this is the 18th. Can we roll for our classes? It's the 7th
sure.
day.
Might as well do that before we go through. Absolutely.
Right. Yes. Okay.
Are we rolling for one class though in particular, since it's only been 1 week?
Oh no, you can roll for each of 3.
I'm not to roll because I was repairing ratios most of the
Well,
time. So I do a ratio.
If it improves, it's
see
a
if I've
D6.
D10.
So D10, right? Sorry. Thinking of something else.
So if we're rolling against skills,
Mm-hmm.
does that mean that if we don't have that skill already, that's an automatic success?
Yes.
You've got to fail the roll, haven't you? You've got to roll it or fail it. And if you fail it, you get a D10.
So aircraft maintenance, obviously, my character doesn't have that. So how would I do that, Sean?
Yeah, you automatically do it. You roll a 10-sided dice.
You'll get that
See,
much
the
skill.
idea
Okay.
The idea is that the higher your score gets, the harder it is to
Oh.
improve.
99. First
Okay, so
time
if you
I've
have nothing in
been
the skill,
happy
you're
to
just
see
adding a
it.
D10?
That's right.
Okay.
61 now.
And it's 1d6 if you have already got the skill.
No, 1D10.
1d10. Oh, excellent. I've never rolled the 1d10 before. The virgin dice.
Well, that was easy to get my skills up. They were so low to start with, so.
Exciting.
Well, that's the way it works. If you don't know very much in something, it's easy to add on to it.
Yeah. And it gets harder and harder the more you know,
7.
obviously.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I spent a week trying to learn climbing, and it's very difficult, so I didn't get much out of it.
Very
gonna blame-
difficult to teach climbing on a boat.
Well, that was something that was noted by you, that it's very difficult. There's not much to hook onto. Or
Yeah, I'm blaming the teacher on that one.
Only so many times you can go up the mast.
Just make sure you modify your character sheets when you're on.
So here's the question. One of the skills that I have has 2 subgroups in it. Do I have to separate the skill for each one, or just?
What are the
Shoot.
subgroups?
What are the subgroups? Yeah, that's.
Well, survival, and then survival with mask, and then survival with high altitude movement.
I would. What would you say, Tom?
Well, you
I think
took a class in the mask, so it's the mask that you're improving in. I've got oxygen mask down as one.
Well, I took movement as well.
Well, then
took
you write
2.
that down as a separate one then, too.
I wrote them down as a separate one, but I was like, all right, here's the thing is I have a basic survival.
Right.
So am I taking the mask and the movement and making them new skills?
That's what I did. I made them as separate
Okay.
skills. You've got some lines and blanks at the end you can add them in there.
No, yeah, I understand that. I just wasn't sure if we were making them separate skills or they were just an add-on to the original skill.
Well, however, I think that we discussed last week that, like, let's say I have already a 40 in polar survival, cold weather survival. So I wouldn't start at 0 with like the oxygen mask thing. I would already know something about it.
Yeah,
so I'm
definitely.
just adding on to that. Or Arctic history. Obviously, I know something about Arctic history. Why else would I be on this thing? So I think that, it's up to the GM, but I would let you fudge it just a little bit for the beginning, Bruce.
Yeah, that's what I'd say.
However, I pointed out that I know nothing about radios, so there
my electrical repair went up because that's what I used. Whereas I didn't use any other classes, I was doing electrical repair. I checked my skill, and that went up.
And this next week, I'm going to take meteorology, which I also know nothing about. So,
well, next week I could do classes, hopefully.
You will have time.
I did meteorology. I now have meteorology at 5. I know the names of 3 different clouds.
Nimbus, Sirius, and Columbus.
Cumulus Nimbus.
Humorous, Tiberius.
Caligula. Nero.
Fluffy. There's Fluffy. Don't forget Fluffy.
Little fluffy clouds and big fluffy clouds.
It's two subgroups.
Sean,
and chemtrails.
Sean, I just got your message that you'd be here in 10 minutes.
Excellent. Now you know. My doppelganger can leave. All right. So everybody's done their skills. Now just update your sheets up. When we're done the travels to get to Antarctica, just send me a copy of it if you want. So you pass through the locks. A long wharf thrusts out between the two doors, rather, the giant 70-foot tall, 100-foot wide, 150-foot wide doors. Long wharf thrusts between them hundreds of feet into the channel, decorated all the length with rails and overhead power lines. And the power lines are for these squat electric mule engines, they're called. So when the ship gets in, the ship is pushed into the right place. Doors are closed. Water fills, and these squat tug things, locomotives, are attached to the boat, and they pull it along. So you don't actually, nobody's in the engine room gunning the engine to try to get through the locks.
Take a run up.
Yeah, there lots of accidents could happen if you allowed that to occur with a giant boat like this.
I've seen them going through, and there's like that much room between the ship and the wall.
There's so many ships.
Outside of the game, I live 100
miles to town.
Outside of the game, west of my house and the southeast, there's 2 locks from where I live. I see them all locked. It's pretty neat. The ropes and these things attached, they keep the Gabriel from moving around, banging into things against the current as water flows in to raise it up. Ship raises in 15 minutes, 30 feet above level of the sea, and then it moves 1,000 feet forward. Doors close, water rises again, processes. After the ship's released with a whistle, you're in Lake Gatun. And it's one day that everyone says, okay, back to work. And it's one day traveling through that lake.
That's because I imagine there's a lot of other ships, too, that have to go through. You have
in
to
both
take
directions.
a turn.
Yeah, of course. Sparky, you, one of the other radio men says, there's a message he hands you. I should have given you this before. Back in the night of the 15th, he caught a red message that came in that said that the Tallahassee. What's that?
The Tallahassee.
The Tallahassee had reached Panama on the 15th.
On the 15th.
So they're officially 3 days ahead of you.
So have they gained ground on us then?
Seems that way.
I'll go through the ship's intercom and try and get start weather or more, just to let them know. And put it over the Tannoy. Tallahassee was passing through here on the 15th.
He takes a sheet of paper from.
Sorry, it's a bit late. I put it underneath my coffee mug and forgot about it.
All right. Okay. That's fine. Thank you for the information. He's a bit steamed, not at you, just at the whole idea that she's gained a little bit of ground on him.
Oh, yeah. He's never happy anyway, is he?
You've seen him happy once.
No, I didn't. I wasn't there.
Oh, you weren't there. Somebody saw him happy once.
Rubbish. I don't believe him.
So a day, I mean, these giant ships going by, brightly colored birds flashing around in the jungles around the lake. Anybody who's never been to the south before, it's just a marvel. You're looking through binoculars, looking at this, and telescopes. You're just quite amazed by what you see.
Oh, and let's not forget the malaria.
Oh yes, mosquitoes are there.
Please.
Mm-hmm. The good thing is you're out on the lake, and there's a nice breeze, so they're not. But whenever the wind dies down or changes direction to keep up with the ship, they arrive, and everyone's just sort of slapping themselves and putting on heavy, coats and shirts too warm for the weather to try to keep them off, or heading down below decks. Eventually, you get to what you'll see on the maps. I have to pronounce it properly. The Calubra Cut.
Mm-hmm.
You get to the Calubra Cut.
Calubra.
Huge, deep slice carved through the surrounding hills. The hills mark the continental divide. South America, North America. I'm assuming that's what it means. So the rough cut rocky walls, they just slide past for miles because it's like a rock cutting on the highway. Vines, clinging shrubs, inches away from your ship at times, it seems. It's not quite, but it looks that way.
I spent time on deck trying to identify them.
Oh, absolutely. If only we had a bird expert, an ornithologist on the ship. To point out birds and say, what kind of bird is that?
Birds.
That's the quite common mosquito bird.
They're this big. As you get to the edge of the cut nears, the ship enters another set of locks. This time it descends only once, crosses into Miraflores Lake. It's only a mile to the end, and then you go through two locks to the sea. Roads and houses are visible in increasing numbers. It's now the day across, so it's the 19th. So it's now the morning of the 19th. There's pleasure craft rather on the edges of the big expanse of water. Lots of children waving at the Gabriel as you pass. Jungle's cut back, replaced by stretches of green open lawns. You haven't seen lawns in a while. And lots of brilliant planted flowers. But they're native to the region.
I'm looking forward to
shipping out. You're in Balboa Bay. You can see the curve of Panama City to the south and the dark, restless expanse of the Pacific beyond. So the ship anchor drops, and you know that Panama City is much larger than Cologne. And if you have reason to go offshore, you have to talk to the captain. Not the captain, but the first.
Everyone's just going to think of an excuse, aren't they? I need to get special.
I need to get my prosthetic leg service.
I think we could all think of an excuse to go ashore, couldn't we?
We need to make a rum run.
We need to do something, and we need to do it together. If we go off all by ourselves in this city, it's going to be a recipe for disaster. So if we keep together and do what we need to do, I should imagine we could all get an excuse to get off this bloody boat, can't we?
Captain, we would all like to go
throw something overboard. Throw something overboard so you've got an excuse to go and buy one. What's the aircraft?
Sean, not to be paranoid, but actually Roger's sort of thinking, maybe checking some of his notes to see what kind of bad things people could catch around this area, and especially leaving the ship. Yeah. Anything I can use the
syphilis.
Just tell
I think everything's serious down
so what
here.
I just want to tell our here with some of the nasty stuff that we can catch, because I don't.
Berry, would that be around this area? Berry, is that more Africa?
What's that?
No. Berry isn't viral.
Can we purchase a new lieutenant prostitute? We kind of worked this one out.
Pretty sure berry is a vitamin B1 deficiency.
Is it? I'm not familiar with that. I just remember hearing it in a film once.
No, they used to think it was a disease, but it turned out it's actually a vitamin deficiency.
Like scurvy is
Yeah.
vitamin
Vitamin
C.
C deficiency. Yeah. Boil some birch bark or pine needles. And, Greg,
Limes. Limey.
Yeah, like
there's actually quite extensive documentation in your doctor's office on tropical diseases that are known at the time.
Okay.
And they do have a fair supply of medicines. There's a few things that are missing, but generally you're covered for anything.
Okay.
All right, the petty officer. What are they called in this ship? They're
Bosun.
bosun, right? The bosun is making note of requests to go ashore. There's always a few young ones. I gotta go on shore I've run out of socks. And no, go back here.
I need
A few people are being getting it actually. So if anyone wants to go to shore, now's the time.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Wonder how hard it'd be to smuggle a girl back on.
Find out, sure.
How many? That's the question.
If you smuggle them back on properly, nobody will ever know.
I
We've got
just
a barrel
need
of beer
one.
on board, so if we put it inside the barrel, we can get her on board.
I just need one. You guys can worry about yourselves.
Use the potato stacks like everybody else.
Yeah.
I'm going to stay on board.
But yeah, come ashore. This is the last chance we're going to have for weeks to do something. So if we all go ashore, we can
Oh, go on then.
have some fun.
Next
You know
landfall.
what? I'm going to
otherwise
go on
just-
shore and stretch my legs a bit. So
It's going to be weeks before we get a chance like this again.
Well,
And they're
we
gonna
can go with
shit,
the group.
aren't
Safe.
So is anybody staying on the ship?
they? Robert is the radio front.
Robert, the whole damn whole.
He's staying in the radio room, so I can go.
Well, now hang on though. I mean, wouldn't this be an ideal time for someone to sabotage the ship while everyone's ashore?
of course.
Everyone's not ashore, just us, which they already suspect anyway.
I think I might stay on the boat.
Is there anything we can get for you?
Yeah, I think I'm
give us-
down about two.
Give us a list. You give us a
Yeah,
list, and we can
a couple of
pick
bottles
up
of rum. And,
Oh, we're getting that anyway. That's the main reason we're going.
I'll stay here with Captain Sugden.
Get some Bacardi and some whiskey.
Can you
there's
can
no
you
prohibition
get
there.
me the most recent copy of the Times that you can find as well?
Yeah, sure. I'll keep my eye open for it.
Keep up on the cricket scores.
Oh yeah.
Dr. Hawks, are you going on shore?
Oh yes, yeah, definitely. I'm just going on shore because we're kind of going as a group, so I don't feel as.
Well, they're trying to limit who goes, so they're actually asking, "What's your purpose for going?"
Electrical supplies. Tell them that.
Do you want to do the idea roll? If you can't think of something.
Yes. I failed that by like 22, so I know. I guess he kind of catches me just being.
He did want to leave the ship. He just can't remember why.
Just in case anybody gets hurt, once we leave the ship.
There you go. You don't need an idea roll for that.
There.
Just
You're
say
making
female
sure that
companionship.
they stay.
Yes. A good
Right.
remedy is to bring a half a dozen women back. So.
Sparky, what's your reason?
Electrical repairs.
All
I
right.
need to replace the stuff that got damaged. I imagine if I find a taxi driver, he should know a store like that will be able to help us out.
Mhm.
Also, I'm getting liquor.
There's a code word for that, probably.
Not
Picking
here.
up newspapers.
It's not illegal here, is it?
Nope.
No. Elmer, what's your reason for going ashore?
I can't really think of one, so I'm going to see if I could ask Sparky if he needs help.
Yeah, I only need help carrying it back.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Nigel?
I am the other electronic expert, so I am going to help out
Yeah.
Sparky.
Perfect. All right. You've got a few hours. They don't want you gone for the entire day. They're planning to dock until the next day. They won't leave without you, but they don't want to have to go looking for you.
Understandable. I'm just going to get my supplies and drink and drugs and then head back to the ship.
Mr. Starkweather wants to leave at first light, and it's not a time for liberty, as he calls it. He just wants people to go. Now, for those staying on the ship, small ferry craft come alongside during the evening with fresh fruit, fresh water, which the cook and chef, or the cook is purchasing. There are some other supplies coming on board to replenish what you've used till now.
More sour cream.
More sour cream. You're always running out of that. That goes with all the potatoes. There's souvenirs. There's another, people's trying to sell souvenirs if you want something. Candy, clothing, locals just selling whatever they can. Fresh tropical fruits. And they do actually take on a huge quantity of that. So the guys on shore, it's early evening, but once you get to shore, there's a customs place that checks your papers. And lots of locals around offering, what do you want? What do you want? Need some help?
Yeah. We need to open an electrical store. We need to buy alcohol and hashish and whatever's on this list. And if you help us, we give you a few dollars tip. Deal? But I'm not paying you until we have everything on the list.
Electronics. Oh, right there, down the road. There's it's the equivalent of an electronics shop. It's a repair. Because there's people in this area that actually have money for technical equipment. And with all the ships coming through, there's always a reason for people to pick up supplies. So there's definitely a repair shop.
Get sheets of Bakelite and spare notes and stuff.
So you can
get
easily find the parts you're looking for.
Excellent.
It's not a problem.
Get a little bit extra than I need to, just to make sure. And then spend the rest
you had extra to begin with. You had extra parts for the radios, so you're topping up. You're replacing the nut level.
Well, it's the fact if this is going to carry on, I'd rather have more than enough. If I can buy more and they can sabotage type approach. But once I've got the alcohol and the hashish sorted out, I'll head back to the ship. I'm not going to tourist it too much.
On those counts, you can certainly locate what you want within easy walking distance of the port. Anybody else looking for anything specific?
Can I get some doggy treats?
Crabs.
Yeah.
A box of dog biscuits, that sort of thing.
It's whatever they
wants to go out and get crabs.
It's tempting.
Lots of crabs you can get. All right. Anything else anyone wants to look for?
Female companionship.
There's definitely a series of bars and pubs nearby.
Do they have any?
By then,
Do they have any grey poupon?
But of course.
And I'll make sure to grab a newspaper for the captain.
Yeah, they have local newspapers. They don't really ship the New York Times here. It's like if they did, it would be months out of date.
Well,
No. When I said the Times, I meant the Times. I didn't mean the New York Times. I meant the Times.
Yes.
The Times.
You would get. It would be a couple of weeks out of date.
But isn't Panama really at this time an American city? I mean, it's not officially an American state, but United States runs the whole thing.
Uses the dollar.
There would be American chain or whatever English newspapers for people living down there, but it wouldn't be a copy of today's Times. Supplies purchased, pub visited, narcotics obtained.
We all have our vices.
Now, for Captain Sugden and I, we both had a mind to keep our eyes on things. Did we see anything?
Do you want to do a spot hidden?
Sure.
Oh, do a spot hidden. How's that?
Kikoki.
63. What is that?
28. My spot hidden is 50. Oh,
Oh, I made it. I got 75, and this is 63, so I did it.
You don't see anything happening, but you do notice there are people who are actively avoiding, and I would say that at least two different people, not connected, definitely actively seeming to avoid being around you. Regular sailor, mechanic guy. You've seen them around. They're just sort of crossing. They see you, they cross the other side of the ship to continue on their path.
I do what I can to see if I can memorize any kind of features that they might have, but I realize that's kind of you don't have much time to think about that.
It's more of a, hey, that guy just crossed over there and continued in the same direction. So it's just more of a, that was odd.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Right. I do wish, Captain Sugden, that we could figure out some way to trap this person.
If only we could somehow predict what they were going to try and sabotage next.
I find it so hard to believe that nobody saw this person out of place or in the wrong place, that nobody was missing. Maybe it is somebody on our team. I really don't think that it's. I mean, how many people are on our team? 40 people, maybe.
About that.
So a lot of them are not a lot of them are not characters that we're playing. I hate this. I guess I'd be a little bit more Nazi and line everybody up and interrogate every last one of them, because I'm concerned for our lives.
Well, just between you and me, I mean, since the radio was sabotaged, I've started carrying my pistol as a matter of course.
What would be cool is if we could smuggle a couple of extra radios on board and keep them hidden in our rooms, so that the saboteur's like, I've ruined their radios. And then just as we get there, we're like, guess what we got?
Our eyes peeled.
Yep. Well, you don't see anything else out of the ordinary. People are getting anxious to leave. Captain Starkweather keeps walking out, looking out to the city lights, checking his pocket watch. Well, not looking at this, checking his pocket watch. Eventually, you see the tender come back. And no, I was only joking. The ship is not on fire to returning people. You come back, you board, you have your stores of equipment in boxes and crates, whatever you put it in when you return to the ship.
Hand out the goodies we managed to get hold of to the people that made the list.
Big smile on my face.
Couldn't find the times, old chap, I'm afraid. It's the best I can do. I know it's not the same, but they really are quite uncivilized here.
Well, it's something to read, isn't it? Thank you very much.
Well, like I say, hopefully in the next port we might be able to find a bit of civilization. I mean, I want to know what's happening with the cricket.
Mr. Moore traveled back with you as well, by the way, and he brought along a series of wooden boxes, crates. And when you get them onto the ship, he cracks them open and asks for assistance. And he has brought on, for entertainment, books, many, many books. Just whatever he could pick up at bookshops. There's pulp novels, there's educational information. Just he brought a whole whack of books. And he says, these are going to be available for anyone who wishes to use them. Let's treat the junior ranks mess as a bit of a library.
Is this somewhere we could use as a library? I imagine all the rooms have already got a function, haven't they?
Yeah.
Junior mess.
Junior mess. Nothing says junior ranks like reading books. So he they go to the so just everyone knows if there's anything looking for entertainment, there's absolutely a big stack of books in the new library area, which is the part of the junior ranks. So the evening passes to morning. In the night, nothing happens of note. In the morning, the ship steams south into the Pacific Ocean.
This is September 20th?
21st, because you arrived to the 18th, you crossed the lake on the 19th, you spent overnight to the 20th, and now it's the 21st. As I remember. What, do I screw it up?
No, I'm just thinking if I should go to Hawks and ask him about, Doc, why does it burn when I pee?
Well, that could be a course you could teach in the following weeks.
The name of the course is Why Does It Burn When I Pee?
International travel and social diseases.
Yeah, I thought you were going to, Doc, we got a problem. I didn't get her off the ship fast enough. And
I'll tell you one thing, I'm not putting my name down that ballroom dancing. There's only one woman on board, and she's not doing it. I'm not doing it. No, I'm not doing ballroom dancing with sailors.
That makes you even more suspicious as the saboteur.
yeah, I know. I won't do ballroom dancing. That's one of the.
I suppose you're really not going to like what we all do on Thursday nights.
Knitting night.
Sorry, did you say it was the 20th or the 21st?
21st now.
21st. No.
So you do notice, however, that the as you're traveling out, and this is not like nobody's doing anything bad. Hours after you push into the Pacific, the weather begins to turn. The sea becomes rough and choppy. Clouds are kind of swirling and growing. Wind gusts and change quadrants easily. Every hour, it seems, left, right, port, starboard, front, back. And the threat hangs overhead as though a storm might suddenly just sort of pop up. Ship plows ahead, steady 11 knots. Every few seconds, it slams into a new wave. Bam, bam, bam. Distant thrumming through the hull. Spray blowing into the air. Dogs are barking like crazy. It's distinct pitching motion. Makes a lot of people run to the deck and throw up. So everybody has to do some constitution rolls.
Cool.
Righty ho.
Oh dear.
Oh, no problem.
94.
Oh dear.
That's not good.
Oh, that's weird. I also got 94.
We're having breakfast all over again together.
I've got really high constitution. That's not fair as well. My constitution's 80. I've got an incredibly high constitution.
Apparently not high enough.
Apparently,
well, look, I'm a soldier. I'm not used to life on the ocean wave.
Well, it's only a few days we were laid up at the hotel.
Yes, I had food poisoning not too long ago.
I think my food poisoning's back, so I failed by 12.
Oh dear.
But I'm taking, even though I'm throwing up, I'm also noting the different kinds of clouds because I just started my meteorology class, and this is a good opportunity to.
As you lay on the deck covered in vomit.
Hey,
I think that's a cold front.
Well, classes do continue on the first day. First day out, classes start up again. But Mr. Moore wants people to be spending their time busy. But it's not like the classes in the Caribbean. It's not a nice, friendly, happy class with people bringing you nice cold drinks. It's a pain in the butt because you're sitting in these chairs and the whole ship is rocking. So it takes, we can skip ahead a bit. We do. It's noon on the 24th, things start to improve.
The 24th?
The 24th. We'll skip ahead because it's just much, there's nothing to roll play here unless someone absolutely wants to build something.
On the 24th.
Build a steampunk transformer or something.
No, the 27th.
It's the
Every 7
24th now.
days. Right, but every 7 days,
Oh, yes.
right?
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
Right. So you said they started up on the 21st, so the 27th
That's right.
will.
All right.
Just 3 days in after that. Now, just we aren't going to role play this because it's
It's
already done
long.
it in another game recently. But after the seasickness, on the evening of the 24th, an hour after sunset, ship's engines go suddenly quiet. A moment later, ship's horn blasts 3 times. Scientists and explorers rush to the deck to see what's going on. External spotlights are poof, poof, all on the ship's bow. A figure appears in a swirl of water and strides towards the bridge. A man is elaborately costumed in a fanciful frogged coat, lots of ribbons and gold. And this is going to sound very familiar to anyone who's played recently in another. But you realize quite quickly that this is not something sanity roll wise. This is absolutely something that is pre-planned. You are crossing the equator. Yeah. So there's an entire ceremony, and it's a cruise party. Ship doesn't move. The people throughout the day before, everyone received something under their door. They're accusing them of bizarre crimes, not partaking in sufficient social lubricant in mixed company, wearing a tie while engaged in honest work, strange accusations, and you're all those of you who've never crossed the equator before are put on trial before Davy Jones.
You know, I've never done that. However, I've got pictures of my father doing it.
Cool.
Well, in one tradition, you got to get a tattoo. In the other tradition, you got to get your ear pierced.
Yeah.
So I'll go for the pierced ear.
So those of you who've never crossed before, you go through the whole ceremonial. There's lots of drinking afterwards, a royal party, and you actually get a certificate signed by Davy Jones, noting that you are now a shellback. King Neptune and his court have approved you to become a shellback. So I will actually send you each a certificate with your name for future hangings in your offices.
Oh, cool.
And the morning of the 25th, you wake up, a number of you with hangovers, and by 9 o'clock, the king's court is erected. Sorry, this is the next day. The 25th is actually when this happens in the morning. The actual court, the trial. So that's it. You get a certificate. You've crossed the equator. You're now shellbacks, and ship starts up again and starts moving on westward once more under a lowering sun.
Hey, I'm a shellback.
Yeah, you're a shellback. Captain Starkweather and Captain Vredenberg and Mr. Starkweather meet out on the deck after the sun sets, and you guys are enjoying yourselves, just standing out about the day and the weather getting a little nicer. And the captain says, "We have to turn back, sir." "No, Captain," argues Starkweather, "we must not." And the captain says, "Mr. Starkweather, we're 4 days out from Panama City. Australia is a good 2 weeks away. We cannot repair the machinery in the middle of the ocean." And you were like, well, "What machinery?"
Oh, machinery.
Yeah. What's been discovered is that the ship's refrigerator, something's gone wrong. Half an hour ago, a wall of a pipe was breached somehow, and ammonia pressure vents out of the pipe and into the refrigerant room. The air, this pungent smell was in there. You weren't quite sure what it was. The pump kept going, but all the refrigerant was being pumped out into the air.
Dear God, they've got the sour cream.
As a matter of fact, yes, the sour cream has all gone bad.
Well, more worrisome is the meat.
Yeah.
I've got engineering and mechanical repair. Is that to try and repair it, or is it impossible to repair at the moment?
Well, right now, it's that you have no refrigerant. So dinner time passes during the uproar. People
We're all
are
having steaks tonight.
everybody's got to eat all the meat in the fridge.
Yeah, we're going to have to restock as well.
It's difficult to be out on certain areas because the smell of the refrigerant, just the odor, is just terrible. What they find out is that the estimate is that of the 12 tons of food in the giant refrigerating units, about a fourth is tainted by the smell of ammonia, and anything unsealed or exposed has to be thrown over the side.
Okay.
Several crates of chicken eggs on board are ruined so strongly. It just, the smell of ammonia, there's no way to eat them no matter what. And most of what remains is pemmican.
Oh, great.
So you hear Mr. Starkweather going, "We can't turn back, Captain. We've lost too much time already. She is several days ahead of us. We shall not lose another day. We'll buy more supplies if we need be. Press on." So he storms towards the bridge and he composes wireless messages to the radio ahead. Vredenberg stands for a moment, mutters to himself, and then heads off. So you can hear workers down in the hold through the open hold area, like there's a big door where things go in. And you can hear as they're trying to vent it out, somebody saying, "He's gone crazy. He's gone off his nut. He's bloody Starkers." And a third person laughs. You can't see them.
Keep a low profile.
Yep. So the crew are generally storming or not happy. And from that, you start hearing they're referring to James Starkweather as bloody Starkers. That's all they call him. And they continue steaming on to the equator. So for the next 2 days, perishables are in great supply, but everything smells of ammonia. And pretty much all food until you reach Australia, you hear, is going to be tinned, salted, or preserved food.
It's 27th now, isn't it?
Yeah. So the morale of the crew is kind of dropping off. Crewmen are complaining to their officers. They're saying that Starkweather, Moore, and all the rest of you are just sort of bad luck for the ship. Somehow, one or all of you are responsible for everything that's gone wrong. Rumors echoing, people muttering to themselves, expedition members are shunned. Yeah, it's just not a very happy scene now.
Is this still on the low end level, or is it like getting to the point where we're like afraid for mutiny or anything like that?
Well, so far, no. The captain is keeping people in check. I mean, they respect him and they respect the officers.
Uh-huh. And how about the further sabotage?
Mm-hmm.
Once again, nobody heard anything. Nobody saw anything.
Nobody's seen anything. But if you, the Mr. Starkweather is nodding at you guys and kind of once in a while says, "Someone needs to take a look at this and not the crew of the ship."
If it's engineering or mechanical, I can do it. And I think Nigel's got skill in that as well.
Odds at you two that maybe you two should take a pop down with his instruction. If anyone asks a question, you can point them back to him.
Aye.
All right, you go down. It's just as described. The refrigerant room it's a mess. It stinks. There's food being hauled off as it becomes inedible and then taken out to be tossed overboard. You want to do a spot hidden though? That would be good.
What, all of us, or?
Well, there's only two of you there. I mean, the others are there, but you guys are the engineering mechanical people. So.
Yeah. Do we need to roll anything? Or?
Yeah, do a spot hidden, please.
Sorry, I might cut out.
Oh, can you do a spot hidden?
Spot hidden. Sorry about that.
Sorry about that.
Christ, I succeed, unusually.
Okay. You see that there's small pits and burn-like depressions on the deck immediately below the damaged pipe where the leak occurred.
So we're looking at acid again.
Seems that way. That's what you seem to think.
Our old friend acid.
I mean, you can do a chemistry roll if you want, or a pharmacy roll, but
I haven't got anything like that, so
you know it's acid.
Well, I'll put the word out to Starkweather and everything, and try and get a message to Dr. Lindenberg about it, just to let them know that there's acid involved, so it isn't coincidence. It is going to be a sabotage attack. by the looks of it anyway.
Paranoid now.
Right, apart from that, try and repair it, I guess. So we're going to need the Freon, aren't we?
It's possible to fix the leak or the
not without the Freon gas.
You need the ammonia. It's an ammonia system.
It's ammonia, yeah, not Freon. We don't do Freon yet.
Yeah. Now you do know that Stark. Oh, Stark, go ahead.
Well, are we due to do the skills rolls again?
That's the 28th.
Yeah,
28th. Oh, right. Okay, sorry.
You do hear that Mr. Starkweather has radioed ahead, and there are constant back and forth conversations with Australia that when you get to Melbourne, there's going to be missing food will be ready, as well as an entire refrigerant system will be there, and crews to come on and repair as needed.
I can help install it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Bastards.
All right. Well, it's 27th dinner is somber. Pemmican, salted fish. Just it's a hodgepodge. The chef isn't even trying now. It's just a hodgepodge of whatever he can open, put in front of you in a big pile, and gives you a fork. And I mean, you're drinking lots of water because of all the salt in the food. That's for sure. So everyone's lucky that you picked up a bunch when you got to Panama City. Next morning, wakes up.
You realize if they sabotage our water supply, we're screwed.
Yeah.
28th rolls around. Breakfast, pemmican, salted fish, whatever happens to be there. You get up. Everyone's still the same thing. Everyone's being very careful watching you guys. 10 o'clock in the morning around, coffee's being served. Coffee's still good. You hear the dogs are barking, because you never actually stop hearing the dogs barking, but they're making some really strange noises. Like it's fevered barking, vicious barks, growls, not just frightened barking or unhappy barking. It's just
the dogs.
Let's
We need to check on the dogs.
Run down and check on the dogs.
Very. You run down. Crewman sounds the alarm as you're heading down towards the lower decks where the dogs are. Pulaski and Fiskerson race up the ladder from their quarters.
Of course. You froze. You are frozen.
Am I now?
You're still, yeah. You said something like somebody going down the ladder.
Okay. Now?
Now we can hear you, yeah.
Oh, good. Okay, sorry. Pulaski and Fiskerson race up the ladder from their quarters in the aft. Off-duty sailors trail behind, curious to see what's going on. When the entrance to the hold is flung open, Pulaski curses viciously and Fiskerson lets loose a small cry. The scene's horrible. Dog crates are attached to the bulkhead in rows, supported by steel frames. Dogs live in them all the time. You've seen them before. But the doors have been removed. The animals are restrained only by thick leather straps that are long enough so the dogs can move around a bit. Some of the huskies have pulled out of their tethers. Many of them are out of their cages, snarling and barking at the tops of their lungs, eyes wide, fangs exposed, frothing at the mouth. Dogs claw and tear at each other in the center of the hold. Two others are racing around frantically, snapping and biting at each other. There's just a massive dog fight.
What the hell?
Dogs are cut. There's bleeding, pieces of flesh hanging off them, tufts of fur everywhere. They're matted in dark with gore and dried and wet blood. 4 of the dogs are dead in darkening pools on the floor. Their throats ripped out. Others in the cages are tearing at themselves now.
Do we smell anything like gas of some kind?
No, there's an overpowering tang of blood and musk and urine.
But this would be, these dogs wouldn't normally attack each other, would they? They'd cooperate with each other.
Yeah, they're trained dogs that they generally get along very well with one another.
Something is terribly wrong. They've been poisoned or...
anyone who failed a Constitution roll has to make another one for the seasickness before.
I did. Oh, 3. Didn't throw it this time. I'm too used to biology.
14.
19.
Pass, good.
Fresh meat, folks.
Anyone not pass?
I'm going to get straight in there and grab a dog and start getting it back to its crate. And help out.
Well, they're really... Fiskerson's saying, stay away, wait. But no one failed, though. The Constitution roll?
No.
Were we all supposed to roll, or just the ones that failed before?
Just the one. Just the one. Actually, no. I'm sorry. Anyone who enters the hatch has to make a successful roll. You get actually a lower bonus if you failed before.
Ooh, then that means I failed.
Okay. Due to the sight of the dogs alive and suffering so greatly, I'm going to roll for something. Is there a dice roller? We don't have a dice roller anymore, do we?
We don't. Nope.
All right. You lose a sanity point.
Okay.
First one in the game.
That makes sense. I've been down there a lot. I've been spending time with the dogs.
Yep.
All of us?
No, just Jeff, unless you failed your Constitution roll.
No, I made it. Barely, but I made it.
Doc, do you know of any kind of chemical that they could give the dogs that would drive them insane like this?
Can I make a roll? What I was actually going to do is grab my kit to see if I could get a blood sample before things start going bad down here. Obviously something is causing this. So,
well, if anyone wants to make it, well, you're looking into that. You can easily get a blood sample because there's blood everywhere.
Yeah.
But if anyone wants to make a spot hidden roll, please.
Anyway,
I will.
Yeah, you should do it as well.
Oh yes, I passed by 1 point.
Ooh, I got critical.
I think I will if I'm in there moving dogs about. Then
you're trying to, yeah.
I got a critical.
Okay, the critical. Everyone else notices the dogs. It's not just they're fighting; they look weird. But you're critical. You actually see they're twitching, like they're twitching spasmodically. It's not just that they're angry, and it's not just that they've lost blood. There's something like a drug-like quality is the best thing you can do.
I'm telling you, yeah, they've been gassed.
Something is.
Or they picked up some sort of
in their food.
Some sort of tropical disease while we were in Panama.
No, I'm willing to bet this is sabotage.
Well, let's see what the doctor says.
Well, if you've got a blood sample, it's easy enough. You get a piece of flesh with blood on it, and you can put that in something for looking at later. Pulaski's saying, "What the hell? Let's get into them." Fiskerson says, "They need help." Pulaski says, "No. What if they're rabid?" But look at them. And he's trying to keep everybody away. And it actually looks so vicious. You really feel uncomfortable getting close to them.
Right.
And he says, "It's Starker's curse, I tell you." And they say that they're either diseased or they're not, but they're certainly killing one another down there. The killer's got to be put down. So Pulaski actually says, "I'll do it." He goes off to get a gun. Gets a handgun, and he says, "We got to put them all down because they're all shredded. The ones that aren't dead are going to die. There's something just not right." So one after the other. Yeah, all the dogs are dead. And everyone has to make a sanity roll, please.
I'd like to do a thorough look around and see if there's anything odd.
Oh yes, there's lots of time.
32, that's a pass.
78, that is not a pass.
33, that's a pass.
I failed. I got an 80 out of a 60.
Okay.
So what's the roll?
You actually, I rolled. It's a 1 to 2. It's a 0 or a 1, so you lose 1 sanity just from the terrified sound of the dogs, because she shot 2 of them and did not do a good job at it, and he had to shoot them again. And that sound alone drove you over the.
Dog was whimpering or something.
So
you fucker.
that the few that are saved are sent back to, or put back in the cages with a little difficulty, but okay. Parties seem to arrive with mops and buckets, and they start cleaning up the pen. Bodies of the dead dogs are thrown into the tarps, hauled up to the hole, up out of the hole to be thrown over the side. They say to the doctor, "Do you want to look at one of these at all, or are you qualified for that?"
Yeah, you know what?
Either one of you.
Doc,
Keep one for a sample.
see what they were eating. Is there food?
Well, yeah, that's what I was actually going to say beforehand. We've got to get a sample of their dog food. So.
And also, you can check the contents of their stomach.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe the
Would
first one
ammonia have this effect?
Do you want to make a roll, a medical roll, doctor?
Hasn't it been days since that happened?
I just wondered whether it might have contaminated the dog food.
I'll just do a medicine check. Okay, passed 40 out of 61.
Yeah, no, ammonia doesn't have the. You know from past work in industry that it doesn't have that effect on them. There's some surviving dogs you can examine as well.
Okay.
Do you want to do a medical roll or a first aid roll?
Yeah. Okay, for right now, we'll take care of the surviving dogs. Right? I'll take a look at them first. So
sure,
I'll do a first aid on them. Just sort of my dog's barking in the background.
It's just bad.
Tom, are you adding sound effects as we're playing?
Yeah.
He's loud. Okay, I got a 10 out of 70 for first aid.
Okay. Well, you can help them tend to their wounds a bit, and as you're examining them, you see muscle twitches, incessant muscle twitches. They can't stand anymore. Their breath and heartbeat are really rapid. Tremors come and go in waves, and the animals, they really just whine and snap, like not even with any strength anymore. You find that this is a drug or a poison. So could you do one more medical roll?
Yeah. Actually failed a 77 out of 61.
I'll give it to you. You're familiar. You think this seems really familiar to you, and you think it's strychnine. Nothing can be done. You know that they're not going to live. They just should be put to death.
Okay, sorry, what was it called again?
Rat poison.
Strychnine.
Oh, okay.
And could anyone else in the hole do a spot hidden?
Sure. Yes, 19.
Oh,
You know,
48 of 50.
Good. Okay.
Just.
One of you, as you're looking around, notices that there's pemmican on the floor. That's what the dogs are being fed, because they wanted a fresh meat for the dogs to feed them. And the pemmican has a white powdery substance sprinkled on it and sort of pushed into the surface. So it seems to you like that might be that's out of the ordinary.
Strychnine poisoning.
Where would someone get strychnine?
Well, they probably have it
Anyway.
on board the ship for killing rats. It's probably the most common poison right now.
I'm pissed.
Paris Green.
It's one thing to sabotage, but to kill all these innocent animals, I'm pissed.
Now they're up in their game too.
Killing dogs. My God, what sort of man kills dogs?
Okay, somebody had to be out of place to get down here and kill these dogs. Did anybody see anything? Once again, this ship is crewed by blind people. Is there anybody
What about
down here
talking
with
to the
dogs?
captain that they're putting, everybody
Lost you, Greg.
Now you know what it's like, Sean, when we
I do.
right when he says something important.
He went black too. He's gone.
This part of the hold where the dogs are there people in here during the daytime?
Not all the time. No.
Doctor's been eating the strychnine. Somebody help him.
Next thing there's going to be strychnine in our pemmican. It doesn't take much to kill
Okay,
it.
back, Greg.
Yes. Sorry about that. It just disappeared.
You're there twice.
Yeah, the other one will disappear in a second.
Okay.
Well, there's during the day, the dog handlers come and go. They feed them. They take them up in pairs to walk around the deck at least twice a day. It's just what they do. At this time, they were in their cabins. It was early in the morning. They had just finished breakfast, so they were not. They had been fed earlier in the morning, but they weren't with the dogs at the time.
Okay. Doc. Strychnine poisoning. Deadly and quick. If the animals were all still or mostly still alive when we got here, how long has it been since they were poisoned? 10 minutes? 15 minutes? We've got a way of nailing down who was in this area when they were poisoned.
Okay, do you know what I'll do? A medicine check. Actually, do you know what I'll do? I'll grab, obviously, one of the packs of the rat poison, and between that and my experience, I should be able to get like a time on this. Huh?
Yeah.
Possible.
Well, Dr. Green, he's there as well with you.
Okay, so
he can help you out with this too. Like you can work on it together.
Well, I'm curious. Is there dog food in the bowls?
Yes.
Well, you should be able to. You should be able to see the strychnine laying in the bowls because it'll be little green pellets.
The strychnine's on it's on the pemmican.
Yeah, it's powdered. It's crumbled up powdered. So there's definitely what looks like strychnine.
So if it takes like 5 minutes to go into effect, then this just happened.
I would think that it would take a little bit longer because they have to digest it.
It blocks the neurotransmitters almost immediately the second it's in your system. It doesn't take much.
Well, Dr. Hawks, you and Dr. Green, you wander off, and he's having you go with him, and you're examining the food of the dogs, as well as he says, let's go quickly run down to check the pemmican stores.
Okay.
So you both crack open with the assistance of some of the people there, some of the boxes that haven't been opened yet, as well as looking at the boxes, and you see no evidence that any other pemmican has been touched at all. Hasn't even opened the packages because it's wrapped in paper and sealed. So you don't see any evidence that anything else food-wise has been damaged. And he says we've got to go and speak to Mr. Starkweather because he wants us to speak to the expedition very soon.
Okay.
Sorry, get my window back. There we go. So 2 hours later, did you lose me?
No, you're here.
Can't see you for a second there.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's a hum. There's a hum and it's gone now.
Yeah, I can hear you, but I can't see you.
I can
can't
see
see
you now.
No.
I can see clearly now.
Okay. You took your glasses off.
Yes.
Yeah, you've gone black.
I've gone
it's
black.
like a bright
Yeah.
screen.
All right,
Well,
give me 2 seconds. Oh, wait.
I see him.
Yeah, I see it too.
It's fine.
You
see
see him on the
photo.
big screen?
Yeah.
Say something, Sean.
I can see me.
Oh, I don't know why I can't see you, but you're actually showing up on the feed, so you're okay.
All right, good. All right. 2 hours later, Dr. Hawk and Dr. Green stand up in front of the expedition crew at the request of Mr. Starkweather. Mr. Green takes the lead as the ship's doctor says, the amount of strychnine found on the remaining panicum blocks in the poison box is a lethal dose. Each of the portions I examined, if consumed, would have killed any dog or man on the ship. Had this box been carried onto the ice and opened, it would have been likely. So you did find actually a box that was opened in the hole where the dogs were. So it was the amount that was being used for the dogs. It is likely several of us would have died. Only sheerest fortune spared us today. He opened and sampled, or you both opened and sampled the contents of the other pemmican crates, no contamination whatsoever. And he says, we have at this time no way of knowing when the poison was placed in the food or how many other crates have been affected. It could have been done before we left New York. It could equally have been done yesterday. Two things are clear, however. Firstly, the poisoning was not done during the manufacturing process. The strychnine in powder form was added to the wrap packages, not mixed into them, so it was dusted on top, not mixed in throughout the material. And secondly, the presence of strychnine powder in our most important supplies means that someone somewhere wishes us all to die. I cannot ignore the fact that if the deed was not performed in New York, that we would have a would-be murderer on board of this vessel, one who could strike again at any moment. Mm. And he steps down, and then Mr. Moore speaks and says to prevent any similar tragedies, every bit of food in the larder must be examined. In order to minimize delays, that examination must start at once while the ship is at sea. And he says, if there's any need of assistance from the ship's crew, Mr. Turlow is the man to see. He will ensure you get all the help you need. That is all. Now, I'd like to see the following people come up and see me. And he assigns several groups to inspect the remaining food. It's going to take a couple of days, but he pulls you guys aside. He says, I have a rather different task for you all, if you'd be so kind. I'd like you to go through the holes and inspect the rest of the expedition's gear, looking for trouble. You know, it may be that our boy had more things in mind than poison. Mr. Turlow here is going to lend you assistance, and but get you in and out of the holds and so forth. But it would be best if inspections are kept quiet. Do your work. Don't talk about what you're doing to the others. Merely bring results to Mr. Starkweather, Mr. Turlow, or myself. We don't know who the troublemakers are, and if they're on board, I'd rather they weren't put on their guard more than necessary. Work in groups, take your time, several pairs of eyes, see things more than one pair will not. That one pair will not. We have 10 days or so before we reach port, so don't exhaust yourselves today. This is a precautionary measure. Any questions?
No.
Okay. And he says, just so you know, you guys, first, between the lot of you, you were responsible for inspecting most of the cargo when it came on board, so you know what you're looking for. And you're more likely to see any changes. Second, I learned in New York that you few are more than usually inclined to poke around things on your own. And that's a good thing at times. He hands you a complete cargo manifest, and the meeting is over.
Thus begins Manifests of Madness Part 2.
Grab a clipboard.
Manifest of Madness on the ocean.
It's like the Love Boat, but it's the Manifest Boat.
Can I kick off by going and checking my all the climbing gear? Although I imagine that would be something that I'd be able to do during the lessons as well.
Mm-hmm.
How long is it going to be before one of us is killed?
I want to check the plane.
Okay. I still have my manifest.
How many people are on the ship?
Close to 100.
Oh, shit.
Well, you said there's 45 of us.
Actually, put the whole ship on kind of lockdown, right? Just besides the.
Well, there's no real security personnel, so it's difficult to do that.
Let's bring back the good old Roman decimation.
Maybe a voluntary curfew.
By the way, Sean, the SS Gabrielle crew roster that you gave us,
yes.
Is this everyone except for us crew, us scientists?
That's true. The expedition is separate from that list.
All right.
Mr. Sugden's going to look at the climbing gear. Anyone else have a preferred? I'm not going to make the role play everything. It's not an easy task. This is the point that
Right.
What you find out fairly quickly is much of the gear is piled in layers and behind other things. The only way in and out of the holds is by ladder. Each chamber has its own sealable latch with a rung ladder descending underneath. Holds are not normally lit during the voyage because they don't assume people are down there. So there's cluster lights and long extension cords. They're on 3 and 5 tween decks. And to help with some of the classes that were happening below for the aircraft classes. The other holds have no lights, so you have to find a way to be able to.
All right. So could we say that, let's say we go through all of the stuff on our list and see if there's anything wrong or missing?
Yep.
Is that a stowaway?
Whose voice was that?
My ringtone's probably.
You can. It's exhausting physical work, but each of the 5 holds has 2 chambers, tween deck and lower. And although most of them are empty, there's a lot of stuff to move. And with the main hatch covers in place, all that moving has to be done by hand. There's no overhead pulleys or winches, so it's going to take several hours each chamber to inspect, and most likely 1 chamber a day. So at that rate, you can have it all done by landfall. But the one thing you have to make some you have to arrange for lighting, so you're going to have to figure that out. Because it's one thing you're finding. As much as you've got time to do this, you can't see anything.
Oh, so there's no lights down here?
There's lights in the aircraft deck and 2 of the tween decks, but it's because there are classes happening in the aircraft deck and they set up lighting. Most often they don't. Nobody goes down in the holds during the trek.
Well, how is there light when they're loading them?
They open up the hatch. They have lighting down there, but they remove the lighting.
I see.
It's not permanent lighting. It's like Christmas lights.
I see. Oh. I'm regretting this whole trip so far.
Yeah,
I'll be glad when we're out on the ice in the middle of nowhere and somebody sabotages something, we can just shoot them.
Should have booked at Expedia.com. Okay, so, well, I mean, outside of doing our patrols, there's really nothing we can do.
Yeah. What do you want us to do, Sean?
Well, I mean, just you're doing the inspections. I'm just saying you're going to have to make arrangements. You have to talk to Mr. Turlow to get the lighting. That's something that you're going to have to do. So as you examine, hold number 1, lots of heavy equipment. Could everybody roll a spot hidden? Who's going to be in there?
Does that include me?
Well, anybody who's in that, anybody who's doing that.
Okay, well,
let's see. Oh, a critical.
7.
Okay.
A robot fail.
Well, this is a heavy equipment storage area. There's snow tractors, generators, heavy crates of ice melting equipment, and oxygen tanks. You start hefting the tanks, and you notice there's no gauges. I mean, it's not modern day where there's gauges on them. Some of the oxygen tanks are lighter than the other oxygen tanks. So you can assume that
they're empty.
A number of them have been opened.
God damn it. At what point are we going to turn around and just go back?
We just need a break. We need one mistake. That's all we need. One fucking mistake and we've got them. But they're not making any mistakes.
it's starting me. Something we haven't really considered is maybe there's more than one. Maybe this is a collusion. Maybe there's people working together to distract one person while the other one sabotages. I mean, I can't think of how nobody is seeing this stuff happen. Unless
How many days do we have?
We're on here for months, right? September, October. At least a month.
You're 10 days away from port right now.
Okay.
You're 10 days away from Melbourne, Australia. So the first day, that's you can only do pretty much one hold a day, and that's the first day.
So what's our day? What day is it? 29th?
About right, yeah. I think it's about 29th.
28th is...
28th is...
Start shipping, or checking.
You cut out, Sean. 28th is...
So the 28th is the day. This is the 28th.
We start checking. Okay.
Yeah. Unless you waited a day to start doing investigations. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't think we did.
So 28th, that's when you find the oxygen tanks. 29th, you spend the day on the number 4 hold. That's because the lighting was transferred to that one next. That's where there's another Boeing there's one of the Boeing aircraft propellers, engines, outer wing sections that have been removed and stowed. Nigel's quite familiar with this deck, or hold rather. A small, sturdy wooden 8-foot room has been built, surrounded by bags of cement. Heavy padlock secures the door. First mate is the only person with the key. Within it, there's a bag of sand. There's boxes of dynamite in there, and there doesn't appear to be any change when you search through the whole hold. So that's the day of the 29th. The next day, they set up at the it's hold 5. You go down, the lights are ready for you. In that hold, there's the dogs, and you search through where the dogs were, and there's a supply of wood in which to build the base camp. No sabotage. You can't find anything in this hold. That's 29th. That's the 30th. 31st, you go to hold 3. It's a tween deck chamber, holds most of the camping and sledding supplies, sleds, camps, tools, lamps, all that stuff.
That'll be the 1st of October, because there's only 30 days in September.
You're correct. 1st of October. There's heavy prefabricated wooden ramp used to unload the ship when you get along the Ross Ice Shelf. Could everyone do our spot hidden?
No way. That's
Oh, yeah. 19.
I've got 97.
Missed it.
I don't even know what I think
38. That's success-ish. Yeah. Only an ordinary regular success.
Ordinarily regular success, you see that things have been moved around. This is where the radios were stored before that had been damaged, that had been discovered before, the camp radios. There's 2 large camp radios and 4 small trail radios. Sparky's already repaired the ones that were damaged before. But you notice that there's chemicals. There's like boxes of photographic chemicals, and one of the lids is cracked open.
What's this?
We would have known that as soon as we walked in the room.
Well, no, not the bottle itself, but the actual storage crate, the wooden crate with all the straw and hay inside. It's been cracked open. Does anybody have photography roll or anything?
No.
Don't think so.
No.
Okay, you open it up. You can smell chemical smells, but everything seems to be.
Everything's dangerous on photography chemicals, isn't it?
Actually,
flammable, aren't they?
The thing is there's a chemical called Fixer, which is quite lethal. In fact, one of the stories I was going to tell you is that Fixer stays around for so long. I have walked into a building and could tell that there had been a dark room in that building 20 years prior, just from the smell of Fixer.
Wow. So all you can tell is you can smell chlorine and other chemical smells when you open the box.
Yeah.
But you can see that it's open, so
it might have just broken when it was or shifted or something, and it doesn't look like they took anything out.
No, it just everything looks in place. It's just this chlorine and chemical smell inside within the hay that surrounds the bottles. Now the last hole the next day you're going to is hole number 2. And it's a tween deck chamber. It contains one of the Boeing aircraft, the other one, or one of them rather, with the wings, nose removed, stored in crates nearby, crated engines and propellers, kerosene tins on a heavy pallet, 3 layers of, this is where the 3 layers of 55-gallon drums of fuel sit that it was being joked about in the past. They contain gasoline, lubricants, and industrial alcohol. The expedition's monoplane is there as well, on top of sitting on top of the gasoline drums, because it's just the best place to put it. And it's held down by heavy cables, chains, hooks, ropes, all that stuff. And some of the drums, only some of the drums could be unscrewed. You just one thing you note without doing a thought is like it's the only place where drums could be unscrewed. So you look and don't see anything really happening. But if everyone could do a spot hidden, please.
Nothing that time.
Made it.
Oh, 98. No.
97.
Excellent.
Fail.
How close were you, Nigel?
I made it.
Oh, you made it. Okay, good.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it wasn't critical or anything. I just made it.
That's fine. So everybody's wandering around. Everything looks good in here. You're kind of tired of doing this. It's the last hole you have to inspect. And people missed something that you didn't miss. You find a small cloth parcel hidden deep down in the lower hold, thrust between 2 layers of gasoline drums, like stuffed right in there. When you pull it out, you unwrap it. It contains a large coil of some kind of a fuse.
Oh.
And there's a dozen, and it says right on the side, written in danger blasting.
Yeah, blasting caps.
Like blasting caps. And several of the caps are fixed to sections at the ends of the fuse. And it looks like you don't know much about, you don't have any bomb making skills or explosives or anything like that?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I took a dynamite class.
I've got a license, but I haven't got knowledge.
Could you do an idea roll? Everyone?
I'm a soldier.
Yeah, that's
Royal
true.
Engineers. So, I mean, the Royal Engineers, that's the EOD, and the make safe and everything.
15. I passed that.
I made it.
Oh, 35, which is also a success.
Almost a critical for me.
Okay.
I got an 06.
Once you guys look at all this and he showed it to you and you're looking, you think, this isn't right. You know, of course, nobody should be storing explosives in amongst gasoline tanks. You notice that several coils of this stuff disappeared from the warehouse before departure. You remember this, that some of this stuff disappeared. That's why we had it's one of the things that was missing. But this coil isn't the entire amount missing. You remember you were missing like twice as much as this. So you all start panicking, running around. So could everyone do another spot hidden?
Oh,
That's another 98.
Ooh,
I'll make out one.
I've got cursed dice.
critical one. Critical one.
Another fail.
You're checking out your bruise in your hand or something. What's everyone looking at? You now have discovered fuse and detonators, and as you look, you see that this is enough that somebody was starting to make a bomb. Somebody was doing something that, altogether, they were in the process of creating a bomb. So I think that's where we should end it.
Well, okay. If there's all right, well, we'll talk about it later.
Yeah, we'll talk about it next week. Just so that everybody knows, this week we gained a new patron, Kevin Glazner. I hope I'm pronouncing that correct. He's contributing $3 a month, which is awesome. Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you very much.
Nice one.
Cheers.
For any of you who'd also like to contribute, there is a link to our Patreon account in the description below, or follow the button at the end of the credits. Our players included Jerry Bryant, Greg Malcolm, Mick Swan, Simon Ward, Jeff Wilkins, and myself with Sean Little as the Keeper of the Secrets. Our musical intro, Sleight of Hand, was composed by James Brett and is used with his permission. We're currently producing 4 shows a week with music and sound effects added in post-production in order to create a richer listener experience. We provide audio-only versions of our show free for you to download from Podbean or iTunes. Feel free to send us comments. We love reading them. If you enjoyed our broadcast, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for updates on our latest shows. You'll find links to everything I mentioned in the description below. This is Tom Rayleigh, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. Until next time, good luck and good gaming.